Hey everybody, welcome to another off-the-shelf board game review. This week we're looking at a 4-pack of games from Mystigo Games. Now this is a promotional copy of a game that's not quite available yet, should be going up on Kickstarter pretty soon. So I don't have a game box to show you, but most of these components are pretty much 90% complete. The only thing that may be different in the final copy is I don't know if you're going to get these glass beads. They may do something different, something more thematic to match each one of these individual 4 games, but again, I don't know what's going to happen with that. And also one other minor note, there are 4 different games that are going to come with this 4-pack. The very first game in the 4-pack is called the Gallerist. Now there's already a game that exists in the Board Game Geek database called the Gallerist, and I think it's actually coming out pretty soon. So from my understanding is when this Kickstarter goes live, they're actually going to have a contest or some kind of backer feedback that's going to allow the players and the backers for the game to actually rename the Gallerist. So just for this demonstration only, I'm going to refer to it as the Gallerist, but when this game does go live, expect that name to change. So anyways, this is a Kickstarter that's going to be coming out for a 4-pack of games. You do have a game called the Gallerist, which is an auctioning style game. Next game you have is Dr. Blender's Lab, which is basically a set collection game with a more family-friendly theme that's actually a lot of fun for the younger kids. The next game you have is 60 Dwarves, which is a set collection game also, but much more of an adult game with much more deeper gameplay and some very deep strategies involved. And then finally you have a game called Trust Me, which is very similar to a lot of the games where players are trying to bluff each other, much similar to Sheriff of Nottingham or any of those other kind of bluffing games where you're trying to make other players believe what you're trying to tell them, and their job is to call your bluff. The first of the 4 games is called the Gallerist. Now this is an auctioning game for 2 to 4 players that's played over 12 rounds. In the Gallerist, players are going to be auctioning and trying to get these paintings, which are worth anywhere from 4 victory points all the way up to 15 victory points. But the trick of the game is that each player only has 12 auction cards, and when you use your auction card, it's permanently removed from the game. Now these auctioning cards can be worth anywhere from $10 million all the way up to $150 million. But remember, once you auction a card, it's removed and you don't get that auctioning card back. So you need to judge whether the painting is worth going for a high bid, going for a low bid, and remembering that these cards are going to come up one time only, and if you don't win the bid, you're not going to get those victory points. So on a player's turn, a painting is simply going to be revealed, and the players need to look at the value of that painting and decide face down exactly how much they want to auction for that specific painting. After all the players have placed their auction cards face down, the auctions are going to be revealed, and whoever bid the highest on the auction is the player who's going to win the auction for that painting. The trick of the game here is though that there's special cards that each player has exactly one of that can change up the rules. So for example, if we reveal a painting that happens to be worth 10 victory points, all the players can put out their bids and decide exactly how much they want to bid for each one of these paintings. And then once that happens, all the players are going to reveal their bids. Now some of these special cards such as the Sheik are going to change up the rules for the next round, meaning that your next bid that you play on the very next round is going to be having double the value. So now since I played the Sheik, my next auction card in the next round is going to double in value. So that's basically a $200 million auction, pretty much guaranteeing whatever that next painting is going to come up is going to be painting this player is probably going to be winning. But you have to be very careful though, because there's another card which makes whatever painting is currently up for auction a complete fraud worth absolutely 0 victory points, and nobody gets to claim that card. So this is a game that's played over 12 rounds. Players are going to go through 12 rounds and add up their victory points into the game. Whoever has the most victory points from the most valuable paintings is also going to be the winner of the game. But there's a little bit of a set collection mechanic to the game, because you're going to notice that all these paintings have a certain color background, and there's multiple different paintings, 3 of each kind. And if you happen to get a complete set of 3 of the paintings that have the same background, you're going to get some extra victory points at the end of the game. Next up is Dr. Blender's Lab. Now Dr. Blender's Lab is a set collection game for 2 to 4 players where players are trying to complete sets of monsters, humans, or animals. Now on a player's turn, the active player is going to let the other players place out some blockade tokens, which is going to prevent them from claiming some of these animal or some of these monster or some of these human body parts. Once other players have placed out their blockades, the active player has the option, if they want, they can discard 2 cards to the discard pile and destroy one of these blockades, and then what they're going to do is they're going to name a color, either red, green, or blue, and they're going to pick up all the cards of that matching color that don't currently have a blockade on them. So in this example, let's just say I name the color red. I'm going to pick up every single red card that's currently available that doesn't have a blockade on it. I'm going to add it to my hand. After that, I'm going to look at any other player, and if I want to, I can hand them 2 cards and name a body part and a monster or a human or an animal. If they have that, they have to hand me that card and take the 2 cards I've handed over to them. Once that's done, I'm going to look at all the cards in my hand. I'm going to see if I can complete one of the monsters, one of the animals, or one of the people. If I'm able to do so, I've managed to score 1 victory point and my turn's over. If I can't create a monster, my turn is still going to be over and the play is going to go to the next player. Play is going to continue like this until all the cards have been claimed by all the players, and then the players are going to figure out who has managed to create the most monsters, most animals, or the most humans, and whoever has done so is going to be the winner of the game. "60 Dwarves" is a set collection game for 2 to 4 players, and much like the Gallerist, it's going to be played over 12 turns. What players are going to be doing is they're going to be going to their local tavern and hiring dwarves that they're going to send down into the mines to collect gems for them. Now these gems are worth anywhere from 17 to 27 victory points, and in the final release of the game, not only will there be a nice friendly score sheet reminding you what dwarves can collect what gems and how much those gems are actually worth, there's actually going to be some gems that you can collect and add to your pile, so you can get a nice friendly reminder of how many gems you've actually collected. Now, in the game, what you're going to be doing is on your turn is you need to make a couple different decisions. You either need to decide that you're going to try to claim a certain set of dwarves of a certain color, or you're going to send your dwarves that you currently have hired down to the mine to do some mining for you, or what you may decide to do is that you just want to advance your turn marker so on the next round you get earlier decisions. See, in this game, basically what you have to do is you have to look at the top 5 dwarves that are available, and if you pick a certain color, for example red, when it comes down to the resolution, you're simply going to claim all the dwarves of that color on the top row and add them to your hand. And again, you can send them down to the mines later to start mining for you. Any dwarves that aren't claimed, though, are going to be removed, and then the next set is going to move up. And then another set of 5 cards will be laid out so players can get a general idea of what color dwarves will be showing up in the future rounds. Players are going to be continuing to do this over 12 rounds, sending their dwarves down into the mines to start farming gems for them. And again, whoever has the most valuable gems at the end of the game is going to be declared the grand winner. The final of the 4 games is a game called Trust Me, which is a bluffing game where players are trying to call each other's bluff. During the game, every player is going to have a complete hand of cards, and players are going to look at their hand of cards, and they're simply going to lay down anywhere from 1 to 5 cards in front of them in the center of the table, and they're going to name one of the animals in the game. Now, there's 11 different animals in the game, and there's only 4 of every single animal card in the game. So, for example, if I decide to lay down these 3 cards, and let's say I decide to say horse. Now, the other player next in line needs to decide if I'm bluffing or if I'm telling the truth. And now here's the trick of the game. I could be telling the truth, I could be bluffing, or it could be a mix of both. I could have put down some horses and I could have put down some other animals, but the next player in line has no idea what I've done or how many I put down. So now it's up to them to decide if they want to trust me and say I believe, or if they want to not trust me and say I don't believe it. If they decide to say that they don't trust me and say I don't believe it, they're going to basically look at all the cards I placed out, and they're going to pick up one of the cards and they're going to reveal it. If the card they revealed is the animal I claimed it was, they're going to pick up all the cards in the stack and they're going to add all those cards to their hand. Now, if they decide to call my bluff and the card that they reveal is not the animal I said it was, then I have to take up the entire stack and place the entire stack into my hand. Now, if this player decides that they don't want to call my bluff and they're saying, fine, I believe it, all the cards I placed down are going to join the general stack in the center of the table, and there's going to be the turn of the next player to also look at their hand of cards and call out the exact same animal I called out and place down a certain amount of cards in front of them. So in this example, this player called out horse, and now this player number 2, also has to call out horse and lay down anywhere from 1 to 5 cards. So let's say I decide to say 2. So now it's up to the next player in line to sit here and figure out how likely they are to believe that I have just laid down 2 more horses. Now remember, there's only 4 of every single animal in the game, so as we keep going, as the players keep calling horse, 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 eventually somebody's going to have to call somebody else's bluff because there's only 4 horses in the game. So as soon as you call somebody's bluff, you simply reveal one of the cards laid down. If they are telling the truth, you're forced to take all the cards in your hand and add them into your hand. And if they were lying to you, the player who lied is one who has to pick up all the cards back in their hand. Play is going to continue like this until all the players have gotten rid of their cards, and the last player left with any cards in their hand is the loser. Or you can simply play the faster version, which is the first person to knock out all their cards out of their hand is going to be the grand winner. Now, it's a fairly simple game, but added onto the mechanics are the fact that you have a whole bunch of wild cards, such as the wild animal card, which can be any animal you want it to be as soon as you have the card revealed. You have the tornado card, which is going to have the gameplay change up quite a bit. You also have the invisible man card that's going to change up the gameplay quite a bit. So there's 6 different special cards in the game, and once these special cards are used, they're actually going to be removed from the game, speeding up the gameplay, ensuring the game is going to get faster and faster as the game comes to an end. And again, the winner is going to be the person who managed to get rid of their entire hand of cards. I hope you enjoyed this brief overview of these 4 games coming out from Mystigo Games. Now, these games should be coming out as a 4-pack on Kickstarter sometime in October or possibly early in November. Now, if you have any comments or questions about this video or these series of videos, make sure you leave comments down in the YouTube comments down below. You can also feel free to email me at offtheshelfboardgamereviews, that's otsbgr@gmail.com. As always, thank you for watching, and thanks for subscribing. All the way up to 27 victory points. And there's also a cat expansion, which adds in an extra 100 victory points. Whoever gets the cat is the instant winner. Idea what collections, what sets you can get, what cats you can get who are going to jump up for the 3rd time in 5 minutes. That's 5 minutes.